Okay, I'm checking the volume. Okay, it sounds good. Hello again, everybody. This is Mr. Everything. I'm coming back at you with another Wargaming and miniature video. In this video, it is Wargaming Wednesday. Every Wednesday morning at around 11 a.m., I go live with whatever projects that I'm working on. And in today's project, I got the foam in yesterday, day before yesterday. And I've already, they come in these boxes like this, right? And you get 6 sheets of 2x2. So I've created a map, which obviously I promptly put down somewhere else. There we go. I created a map of where all of the tiles are going to go. And then what I'm going to do is I've already cut the pink foam that I had remaining from my previous project down to 2x2s. Some of them are not 2x2s. Some of them are like 2 by 1 and 11. What am I trying to say? 1 foot 11 inches, that kind of stuff, right? Some of them have jagged edges. That's okay too, because not every side of the underlayment, is what I call it, is going to be exposed. The majority of it is going to be underneath the blue foam. And as long as the blue foam is 2x2 or 1x2 in these cases, then there won't be a problem, because these guys will all butt up against everything properly. But there is some area in the low ground, which if you watched my stream, my World War II project streams, you've seen what I'm talking about. But there is some low ground that is only pink foam, and then there are the so they need to have at least 3 sides that, well, yeah, at least 3 sides that are straight and perfect, right? But the third side, in my case, I've got like one up here. This side needs to be straight. This side needs to be straight. This side needs to be straight. But this side can be short or jagged. It doesn't matter, because that goes off the map and it doesn't butt up with another tile. Same thing with this one. You got 3 sides that need to be straight. It can be jagged. This one, even though it's in the corner, it only needs 2 sides to be straight. These other 2 can be jagged, if that makes any sense. Like this one, because it's basically under the blue foam, it doesn't need to be right up against this tile, because the blue is actually going to go all the way to the tip of that board. It's going to be sloped down, but this side does need to be flat and butt up against the other tile. So that's the way that's working. This one needs to have 2 sides straight, and then this one needs to have these 2 sides straight. If that all that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, I got my foam cutter out. I haven't plugged it in yet, and I've got some other tools to cut with. I'm not going to cut with this box knife. Where are the scissors? Okay, hold on. What am I doing? That's from a previous project. Okay. But I am going to, this is empty. I'm going to go make some coffee and use the little boys' room before we get started. Make sure my bladder is clear, and then I'll be right back. So expect about a 5-minute break. What I need is like a little card that I can put up here. Boop, be back in 5 minutes. I could put it on, I could put it digitally up there, but if anybody comes into the chat and wants to ask, like, where am I or whatever, just let them know I want to make some coffee. And I'll be right back. Okay, this is like a 24-ounce cup. I've decided just to go ahead and make 12 ounces, just basically make a half a cup. So, I don't know if you can hear me, but I'm going for my cream, which we keep in the pantry. I just go with a basic, what do they call this? Coffee Mate Original. We have a number of liquid creams and flavored creams. But I really don't like any of those. I did like the chocolate one for a while, but then it kind of got old. Half a cup. Mix that cream and sugar. Oh, yep, I'm a sugar person. All right. I'm going to bring this over here. Probably shouldn't, but I'm going to. Don't want to spill it on anything. Okay, do I have my work glasses on? Nope, I got my reading. I got my gaming glasses, which is a little bit different. All right, guys. I don't know if you can see these pants. Stewie. Okay, I don't know. Family Guy. I should probably plug that in and heat it, but I'm not going to. This is actually going to be one of the last steps, because what I want to do is mark all the boards ahead of time so I know where all the cuts are going to be. I want to butt them up together where they're all supposed to match, and then cut them out. Okay, so I want to clean out this part of the table because I might need to put 3 tiles down, and I need the room. So let me clear that off. But before we do that, I want to show something that I built last night. I don't know if you can see this, but it is a Whirlwind. It is resin and metal, and it's a little potted under here, but that's okay. That's not going to be seen on the table. This hole where the turret goes down in is actually kind of shallow, so I had to cut, gouge out as much of the that inside as I needed so that this turret would fit down inside there. And then there it goes, and then it could turn, and you can play. And it's also probably not a perfect circle, and this is probably also not a perfect circle, but I will this was from West Wind. It's what they call their Berlin or Bust line, and it is this was very easy to clean and assemble and everything. And this, the turret area came in a smaller baggie, and it included enough pieces that if I didn't want the turret, if I just wanted to, if I wanted to mount it on the ground without the legs. Basically, I believe of Flak Verling and the Whirlwind contain a lot of the same parts. There was even like a platform to go under these soldiers that they could put seats on, and you can sit on them in that baggie, but unneeded. These guys, there's no way they could fit in that turret. I had to break out a saw and cut their legs off, basically, to get them to fit where they're supposed to be inside that turret. So it took a little effort to get that. I'm kind of proud of it. The way it turned out. It turned out pretty good. Now I just need to paint it and put some decals on it and make it look pretty cool. I also built a Berlin or Bust West Wind deuce and a half. Yeah, it looks pretty good. I like the way that thing looked. It came together pretty good. Trimmed it up. And the next model I have on the workbench is a, what do they call this? A WC62. It's a American light truck. It's all metal. There's no resin, and this has the one wheel in the front and 2 wheels in the back. Yeah, it goes like that. There's a couple of chairs that go in there, but it doesn't have a cab. It's supposed to have a like a pintle mounted, a ring mounted machine gun, but I'm not sure how I'm going to get that, how I'm going to assemble that. It's got the side rails. It's got a lot of things. I think I'm just going to leave it off, actually. But there's that. And once I get those 3 put together, I'll get them painted up and stuff like that. So, okay. Okay. Okay, that fogged my glasses. Okay, I'm just trying to think, where can I put all this and get it completely out of the way in case my wife needs to come walking through here. Okay. Let's see if you can kind of see. There's the blue foam in a box. All right. I'm going to put that there. I'm going to put, because I'm not working with this pink foam right now. The pink foam's only going to be needed when I start gluing the blue to the pink. Right? So I'm going to set this somewhere out of the way. Maybe way over here. Okay, that should be out of the way. Now, these tiles here were all from that original 4x6 table that I made. But it basically went to pot. I decided, or I found out, that it truly needed to be 8 feet long instead of 6 feet long. Now these are some 1x1s that I had acquired. Okay, let's get them out of the way. I've coated that river twice in blue, upsetting. I've laid some fields down on this, and I don't know if I can peel this or take this off. Before I decide to cut this up, I might just hold on to it and see what I can do about maybe removing this hill, or I don't know. I'm going to try to, because I could cut this down maybe and maybe make some one foot tiles or something. If not, I'm just gonna abandon them, throw them in the dump. And like this piece, this is a what would you call it? A remnant of the previous and see, this is very bespoke. I wish I could peel this paper off. I don't think I can, so it's probably just going to be trashed. And then all the flock I used for the various roads and all this paper, unfortunately, it's all thrown away. Oh, and you can see, like on the bottom of this one, I put the Mod Podge and stuff on there to try to give it a protective seal. In hindsight, I probably should have done that a little bit differently. Luckily, I'm going to take this opportunity to make the second map as a learning opportunity. I'm going to say, okay, this first map was a mistake. I'm going to try to learn from my mistakes, because I made a few. Putting the grass on there the way I did, gluing the top and the bottom together. Yeah, I made a couple of mistakes. And see, these are perfect 1x2s. Yeah, unfortunately they're got a slight warp to them. Not very big. That I could live with. That warp I could live with. But the roads are in the wrong places. And this remnant I didn't measure, but it's probably a good chunk. Alright, we're making there, we're getting there. Yeah, a couple of these boxes are empty. This is do that. I don't think I'm going to be using this knife. Okay, I'm trying to decide how I want to start. I think I'm just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just like that. On my pink phone, I numbered these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, just like that. These 3 pink I'm not going to glue. I'm just going to lay them under these blue. Okay, these 3 this one and all of these have hills on them. Now again, it doesn't have to be completely 100% accurate. I just like it to be as close to accurate as possible. I think I'm going to work with this tile first and then branch off of that. I think that's what I'm going to do. Okay, I can see that I'm going to need to clean some of these boards out because they have scratches and some dings. I apologize if you can't hear me. There's a fan going. Looks like it's the fan's peaking the mic. Just checking its flatness. Okay, I think that looks good. Okay, I got this ruler out because it's got millimeters on it, which is basically a lot smaller measurements. So if I need to measure like how close something is, then I can. Okay, this hill is going to be cut directly up against the tile, right? Because it's going to be right up against the other tile. But if I was to give me a good measurement, okay. Need a calculator, right? Okay. Okay. That's a foot. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 2.5. Okay, so that's about a foot. Okay. Approximately. Okay. Could have done this off camera, but the project is today. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5. So 2 3/4. Okay, so that's about 6 inches. Okay. Now I've already gone through late last night and measured how many 6-inch bocage pieces I was going to need and how many 6-inch hedge pieces I was going to need, and I think I came out to something like 62 hedges. All total, that's all the ones down the low ground, the uppers, everything between the different bocage. 62 of them. And I've only made 25 hedges. Now the bocage came out to a lesser number. I think it was 33, and I think I'm real close to that. So I won't have to make too many bocages. I'll just have to make a ton of hedges. Okay, because what I'm trying to determine here is how far back do I want the slope to go. On my old maps, they were at a 45-degree angle. They were 2 inches from the top of the hill to the bottom of the slope. And that gives you a, and the, since, wait, 2 inches? Hold on, this is only 1 inch thick. Okay, hold on. This is 1 inch thick. So if it's 2 inches, then what is that? That's like a 60-degree slope. That's good. But what I was thinking was, and you might be able to see this on the backside of this paper. That's the ground. The low ground, that is. And if that's the top of the hill, and that's the start of the hill. I did a 2-inch originally, and it, of course it wasn't measured, it was only eyeballed because of I'm going to do a 2.5 as well. Okay. So these are 3 different sloped angles. Okay, so that right there is a 2-inch slope. And that's what I did have, but I was feeling it was a little too steep. So I was wanting to go to a 3-inch slope. It's a larger battlefield, so I'll have more room for slopes, more room for hills. Yeah, a 3-inch slope is a lot more subtle, and looking at the battlefield itself, it looks like you can barely tell that there's a slope. I wish I had a way to kind of just cut out an inside of the blue, and you wouldn't even have to have like a raised area. and it would just be very subtle low ground. I've considered that. I've also considered making the blue tile just saying it's low ground and not actually having it as low ground. But I find that that just doesn't have the same appeal as the actual hill. Okay, so there's two. That's a 3-inch. And then there's a 2.5-inch. I like the 3-inch. I like the subtle hill of it all. Got some soldiers. Now, of course, they would be standing on the battlefield like that. Yeah, that's not too steep. This felt like it was too steep. Yeah, that's too steep. Okay, we're doing 3 inches. And what I mean by that is from the top of the slope to the bottom of the slope well, the base is 3 inches. That actually will be, shoot, that'll be like 3.5 inches if I measure that right. Three and a quarter. Okay, but either way. Yeah, so that won't be a problem. So I need 3-inch. So what I'm trying to say is the top of the hill is going to be 3 inches back from the bottom of the hill. This is the hardest part. Once I get this visualized, then I can just start cutting. Hey, we got our bot back. All right. Okay, one of the first things I want to do is number this tile. Oh, come on now. I'm a weakling. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is going to be tile 5. It's going to be covered with grass, so that's going to be tile 5. That's going to be north. This is going to be an approximation of the 1 inch. I'm sorry, I say 1 inch, but 1 foot mark. Okay, those guys are going to be a lot easier to mark because I checkerboarded the 1 inch tiles. I'm just putting dotted lines. Okay, well this one's just going to be a full solid, and these are not going to be made out of blue. These are just going to be solids. but I marked them anyway because of where the roads might go. Now, if you remember, in one of my videos I discussed the way the road was going to cut the corner. Well, I've actually adjusted the map quite a bit. I changed the dimension of the squares and moved them around a little bit to ensure that it didn't have a road cutting the corner. That bugged me quite a bit. Okay. If that's, okay, I'm just going to visualize. It doesn't have to be accurate. So if that's a foot, this would be approximately 6. And if I put the top of the slope right about there, which looks like about 2 inches, and then a 3-inch slope, it's going to be down here. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll make that 10 inches. Right? And if we do, the bottom of the slope will be right here at number 3. Okay, because what I'm doing now is measuring the bottom of the slope, because that's the piece I'm going to cut off, and then I'm going to angle up to the top of the slope. So that's 10 and 7. Okay. And this can all be hand drawn, that's no problem, but I want it to match the 1-inch tile that's going to be over here on the side. Not 1 inch, 1 foot. See how that comes together so nice and perfect? Okay, so this is where the causeway, it's got its own little piece. But the causeway, if that's 6 inches, how big did I make the previous one? Inch and a half with a little extra because I like that dimension. I thought 1.5 inches worked really well. Okay, so if that's 6 inches, and if I go a 3-inch slope on this side and a 3-inch slope on that side, there'll be no causeway. So I got to spread it out. So this causeway might not be, I'm thinking it might not be a 3-inch slope. This might be a little steeper, maybe exactly the same, a 2-inch slope. Yeah. If I bring the causeway right up to the line of the map, that'll disguise the fact that there's 2 maps. Basically, it'll butt right up against the pink, right? I don't know. I honestly don't know. Because if I do that, okay, let's just figure out where the center of the causeway is. Let's just do that. 6. Three. Wow, okay, so 3 would be the top of the hill. Okay. Three would be the top of the hill. Two-inch causeway with a cutout on both sides. And then a 3-inch slope on the other side. Well, that seems reasonable. So 8. And remember, this one's going to go right along the edge of the pink board that's underneath it. So top of the hill is up here. And I want this slope to go straight up into, this edge, and then have it kind of turn sharply. Yeah, so it's gonna really doesn't have to, because I do have a pink board underneath that. It's just the way this map looks right here. Yeah, so it's going to be a pretty sharp turn right there. Yep, that's fine. It's going to be all jagged and stuff anyway. And then that would be the same here. Okay, that's the bottom. If the top goes in about 6 inches, yep. Nope, I don't like that look. There, that's better. So this is going to be the top. Okay. But then from here, goes just like that. That's awesome. Okay, and this is the bottom of the slope. Yeah, bottom of the slope. Yeah. Alright, so that's going to be cut off. Okay, I made that a little bit more gentle, but it's still going to come to a pretty sharp point at the bottom. Okay, so that one's ready to go. Okay, so this is the top of the hill. That's the bottom. That's the top of the hill. That's the bottom. Okay, we'll get back to this one, which is tile 8. And this is the slope getting cut off right here. Okay. I'm going to turn this sideways. I've been marking with this pen when I meant to be marking with this pen, but this pen is actually quite thick. So I'm going to reserve that. Okay, so this one is going to be the tile. I think it's this one. And that's based because of the way I cut it. One of these two sides should be the pre-cut side. Hold on. Okay. That one can be jagged. No, it can't. Neither one of these two should be jagged. Okay, this looks very smooth. I'm going with it. There's a little bit of a gap, but we'll live with it. Okay, this is tile 4. Top of the table, where this hill basically just cuts off right there, right? Yeah, so I can handle that. That's no big deal. And it does need to kind of angle in, but not drastically. Now if I wanted to, I could make this slope even more shallow than 3, right? I could go with 4 or even bigger. If I wanted. Right? Okay, so that's the top. That's the bottom. This is the bottom. Okay. Alright, so we got the top. We got the city one. Number 5. I'm going to need another one to go under the city. Now one of these edges is jagged. There it is. No, wait. Not so much. This one doesn't really have that. That's awesome. Maybe I should have made the city out of this one. You know what? I'm going to hold on to that piece because that's a nice piece. I'm going to make that probably number 2. I'm just going to label it number 2. And which side do I think is the worst? That one? Okay. Okay. So we got number 2 done. We got not finished because I got to put roads and stuff. But I got number 4 and 5. We're working on 6. I'm trying to get the southern side of that. Okay, this one's got a rough side. So the rough side, I put all the way to the south because it's not going to butt up against anything. It'll be at the edge of the table. And this should be number 6. Okay. Okay, the bottom is definitely going to be the bottom. Does that make sense? No? Okay. Three-inch slope should be right about there at the bottom. Do I like that curve? I do actually. It's a good curve. I do plan to have this road go off the side on this tile and not cut corners there. So the road is going to be going off this edge of the table, like right there. Okay. That was done. Simple, easy peasy. That's number 6. Okay. Now I got to do the other side. We're going to start with the causeway piece. Here's number 8. That's part of the causeway. Need some room. Haven't been using that since. Don't need this right now. Go much better. Okay, now the causeway piece, the back side can be rough. Like that. Okay, so that's the rough. That was going to go right there. We already know that this causeway is pretty straight up till this point there, right? And then it starts to turn. Now, on this end, the Merrimack River is supposed to go under the bridge, right? And then come around here and then go down this tile, but that's not the way I'm going to do it. I don't know if you can see that, but the Merrimack River is just barely touching this other tile. So I've decided that I'm going to shortcome it at the edge of this tile and then go down. So the Merida Red is going to be right there. The other hill and stuff is over there. That's not important. But if the bottom of the hill is here, it looks like it gets steeper. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to make the causeway steeper here. So it's going to be wider and then kind of come to a narrower, not super narrow, but just a little bit narrower. Is that going to change where the road is? Not really. Okay. So let's do a 3-inch slope all the way to there. A 2-inch top of the causeway. Right there. And then let's just go just a little bit over 2 inches. Right there. Okay. Using that kind of as a guide. You can see that's not straight. That's perfect. That's the bottom. Okay, that's the road. That's the slope. It won't be perfectly straight at the bottom. It'll be kind of jaggedy a little bit. Okay, so bottom of the causeway. Road. Okay. Okay, that works pretty good. Now technically, I could just cut this piece off and then take any other piece that I have available and make this little piece right here, this little piece, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to make it so that it all fits on this one tile and I won't be all whack-a-doodle. Okay, where is... Okay, that's the 12-inch line, and one of the reasons why I needed to know where the 12-inch line was, and I kind of need to know the way the road goes so that this is the road here. Yeah, the road should be like that. Okay, which, that's actually not the road, that's the top of the, or I should say the outside edge of the road, because I'm going to trim the road down a little bit, making it, because I'm going to put like a, I'm going to put flock along the outer edge of these roads. So... looks pretty good. It doesn't have to be accurate. Like I keep saying, nothing has to be too accurate. Okay. I still plan to use this same bridge. it looks like the center of the road will be 9 inches in. I mean the center of the bridge. Okay, so the Margaret is going to go under the bridge right here. Okay, and that would be the, give those two spots, I'm going to cut out into the top of the hill. Right, like right there. Okay, perfect. And the Margaret is going to be at the bottom of this hill. This hill is going to be super steep under the bridge. It's going to be, but that's okay. So if this is the bottom of the hill, this is the bottom of the hill. You can see I kind of made it wider. I didn't need to do that. Need to do that. Oh wait, that's not true. Because it needs to be fairly wide up here. Oh, come on. Because of this bridge, I want it to fit kind of like into a slot. Right there. Or over there, either way. Yep. Okay, so I'm going to go with the original. Okay, that works. Now on the other side, it kind of makes this little parking area. Which, okay, yeah, that should be the 12-inch mark. Goes in at least another 3 inches past that. Okay, approximately. This is the okay. I had the bridge in the wrong spot. Okay, so this is the top of the hill. Okay, well, I guess closed captioning is not all it's cracked up to be. But it also might have been because the kitchen fan was blowing for a while. Okay, I've got a couple more tiles and then we'll start cutting. Okay, let's finish this one. Yeah, it looks like the river makes like a little bulge and then kind of comes back like that. The river here is going to come up to the edge of the slope. Okay, so that's the Meritorette, which tells me this is the bottom of the hill. So I mean, I drew the Meritorette on there, but it doesn't matter. It's not going on this blue. I'm going to be putting it on the pink, because this piece is going to go on the pink and this piece is going to go on the pink, and then this will be the pink low ground where I'll put the river. So, but that's just kind of a guideline of where I need to put my low ground here, and then like a 3-inch, which if this is the high ground, it basically just needs to get thicker and thicker as it goes. So it's hard to believe that that's 3 inches. That's what she said. Yeah, I'm not going to go straight across and then around. It's going to need to be gradual. Okay. So I'm going to do something like that. Yeah, but I'm still cutting this. So it's going to be super steep here and then gradually get less steep as it goes around. Right, and then we'll do that tile here in just a minute. So what tile is this? 6, 7, 8. Let's put 8 down because I finished it. 8, 9, 10. This is 11. Okay. Still working on tile 11. Okay, so you can see that there's a lot more room back here. A lot more room for that farm complex that I needed to build. I only had about this much room on the previous tiles. This just gives me so much freedom. Okay, bottom of the slope. Bottom of the slope here. It's pretty big. Pretty big. Okay, so that's the bottom of the slope. And we're going back to the whole 3-inch thing, aren't we? Okay. 3, doesn't have to be exact, like I said. And then yeah, so it'll be steep there, but then it'll kind of widen out as it gets back out there. Okay, that's number 11. Now I need to do the one below it and the one above it. There's a couple of rough cuts on this. I mean, I probably could save this and use some other piece to make, because all I'm doing is just this little top corner. That's the only thing I need a blue piece for. Just looking at this piece, this is going to be cut out and not used. So maybe I could do something like that. I certainly will. Okay. No wasted blue. Okay, this being the bottom. Can't go any further than that, is what it's telling me. But that's okay, because I don't even think I'm going to use that much. There it is. That was just hand drawn. And this should be tile 12. Okay, so when I cut this out, then I'm going to be able to use this piece to finish that. Okay. That's what I'm talking about. 12. Okay. Yeah, it's 11. Okay, so this one's going to be 10. And the Margaret is going to run kind of like that. Yep, perfect. Low ground is going to be right next to it. And then high ground didn't even measure it, just marked it. Okay, so that's it for that tile. Now this doesn't count roads or any of that stuff. That can all be added later. Okay. Wow, I didn't even need the second tile, second box. Because that is going to be tile 1. Right, and it's not going to have any okay. It's not going to be anything on it. Okay. Tile. Three. Yep. Three. Okay. That doesn't have any hills on it. So we got 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, and 6. Pink 7, 8. Pink 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, we got them all. And I didn't have to open my second box. That's awesome. That comes with 6. I could just make a 4x6 table completely flat using blue with that second box. All right, now we're to cut. Okay, cutting is going to be in a two-step process. I'm going to use the long, straight piece. And not this piece. First. Okay, bear with me. I'm actually very excited to get these boards made. Yeah, let's put this coffee out of the way. I don't want to tip it over. Okay, I got some Battlefront news. As you know, I've been waiting on my orders. Well, they back-ordered my American infantry, but sent my paratroopers. So basically, I'm not going to have the troops for my gliders, and that's back ordered till like June. So what I'm thinking about doing is notifying them again, canceling the Americans, and ordering Plastic Americans from Plastic Soldier Company. Plastic Soldier Company, I noticed, does not have American paratroopers. It's weird. I think that's weird. Do you think that's weird? I think that's weird. But I guess they're expanding their line all the time, so everything's plugged in. I'm heating this up. Okay, now the plastic that's on there should start to melt. I might get a wet paper towel and kind of wipe it off. I think that's what I'm going to do. Be right back. I guess it cooled the knife off as soon as the water touched it. So it hardened right back up. Maybe a dry paper towel. Yep, much better. Oh yeah, much better. Okay, lesson learned. Okay, so I'm going to pull these out. I'm going to reference the map to make sure I'm cutting the right thing and not not cutting on this side when I should be cutting on this side, etc. Now, I've considered cutting this at an angle all the way down, but I found that it's better to cut the angle with that knife and just make the major cuts with this knife. So it's basically going to be a two-step process. And here we go. I'm excited. Nice and slow. Oh no, where am I going? And then there's fuzzy hair everywhere. But that can all be cleaned up later. Okay, and this is a remnant that I can use for hills or other places. Okay. And remnant I'll stick over there, and the one I'm going to cut again right there. This is number 3. It's not going to be cut again. This is number 8, the causeway. I don't need to cut this side because it's already there, but I do need to cut this side. warm it is outside. Could I open the door? We're going to find out. It's chilly, but it's not cold, if that makes sense. Because of this foam, what do you call it? Burnt foam or whatever, I think it can be hazardous to your health. So it's good to do it in a well-ventilated area. If I start to get cold, then I'll stop. That's a remnant. That's a remnant. Revenant. Okay. Those need to be cut again. Okay, what about this guy? This guy is number 4. Number 4. This is the cut. Okay. Yeah, just thinking about this scenario and adding 2 extra feet to the battlefield, which most of it is behind the troops anyway, so it doesn't really change much of the middle of the battlefield. It changes mostly, like I said, the farm. There's going to be more room to put those buildings in the farm, and there's going to be a little bit more room between the bocage, top of the hill, and basically a little bit more maneuvering room. That's a yikes. Ooh, that's hot. Okay. But I do think it does add, in the middle of the battlefield, probably anywhere from 6 to 12 inches of extra space between the 2 forces. All right? And that also increases the flooded area. Okay, what is not going to be cut? Yeah, these 3 have pretty sizable area to cut out. Yeah, but we've got 2 sides to cut out actually. Okay, so I would kind of be a little aware of that. So I think it's going to change the dynamic of the battlefield in a way where the Americans are really going to have to consider the causeway even more and not the low ground. The low ground's an option to move across, but if it's bigger, it becomes more deadly. Because it slows your pace, and it's a die roll, and a 6 out of a d6 kills someone out of your unit. And if you've got multiple squads going across, you're rolling multiple dice, there's a good chance you're going to lose somebody every turn. So the causeway becomes important, more strategic. Okay, now. Okay, that looks good on that piece. Yay. No problem. Yep. Okay, so I'm going to be able to cut that slope using that knife. I won't need to cut this little piece out. Okay. Am I missing something? Like, where's my city piece? That's this piece. Okay, it's already cut. Okay. Okay, this is this. Okay.
It's cold.
The fumes. So over there.
Yeah, that's strong.
It's not too bad outside. But, oh, my Battlefront order, right? I was talking about it. I actually am supposed to be getting it in Thursday. Alright, last but not least, this is one that's a little confusing, but I think we'll figure it out. Murder it, so here we go. This also, in the city, on the previous map, all my buildings were like almost touching. They were probably 10 millimeters apart. And I didn't like that. I didn't like the look of it. So when I discovered that my map was too small, I kind of thought of it as a blessing in disguise, because it was going to let me expand the city at least 6 inches. And that means that I could put like a gap, maybe a 1 or 2 inch gap between buildings. And that means I can maneuver vehicles and troops between the buildings. Not that this map, not that the battle that I'm going to run has a bunch of tanks, but if I ever decide to do the Lafayette Bridge campaign, there are tanks. And I could do hypotheticals. I could say, what if a Panzer IV showed up? What if the Americans had anti-tank guns? Or etc., etc. Which I think they did have an anti-tank gun in part of the campaign. The campaign scenarios. One thing I like about the campaign books, you know, the skirmish campaign books, they give you like the historical troops, and then they give you these random optional troops that might show up at the battle. I like that a lot, because that way every battle could be different. Could be different. Okay. And in some of those, they have like, oh, this tank shows up, or this anti-tank gun, or this jeep, or this squad of guys, or a mortar, or whatever. So the downside of those books, I guess it's not really a downside if you've got a fairly sizable collection of miniatures. But if you don't, and if you're building specifically for that battle or whatever, you have to build or acquire the units even for all the optionals, just to make sure that you've got it, just in case that optional is what's rolled. But I plan to have a lot of varying troops, anti-tank guns and trucks and half-tracks and tanks and everything. Okay, I'm going to unplug this so I can kind of see what I'm doing. Okay. Okay, all the knife cuts I think are done. Now I have to go in with the, actually I don't know what this is called, because that I think is called the knife. I think this one might be called the blade sleeve. Okay. I think this is less than a remnant. This might be a remnant. This might be a remnant. This could be, I don't know what it could be used for. Maybe something. Maybe a hedge line, something. But I don't know. I probably should just put it in the remnant box. Okay, so we're going to let this kind of heat up. So that I could wipe that blue foam off of there. Yeah, look at that. Nice and clean. Yep, looks good. Let's turn it off. Let's unplug it. And then let it sit for just a second to let it cool off before I start putting it back into a plastic container. Looks like we might be going over a little bit today. While we're waiting for that to cool down just a little bit, I did want to show. I did get my field strips in. Got the one with the red. There's 10 strips. You know, they're, I don't know how long that is. 5.5 inches. Yeah, it's just like a tuft. It's just in one long strip. And then I've got the flower strips, which to me, this is supposed to be 6mm and this is supposed to be 4mm, but they look like they're almost exactly the same height. I really like those. A lot of different flowers. I don't know if I really... Looks like it's foam flock on the tuft. I got a couple of those, so that's 20 of those strips. And then I got 2 of these, which is like 20 of those strips. And these are just summer strips. These are probably my favorite just because they're basic. And just laying them out just like that would look like crop fields. And I got 20 of them. Okay, so that's a few fields. Yeah, so I think I'm going to be putting a Plastic Soldier Company order in for some Americans. I'll have to see how many figures of what kind you get in each of the in the pack, and see if that one pack is enough to do the glider troops that I need, or if I need to get the heavy weapons pack. Okay, let's watch this roll around. Okay, good. Let's plug it in, turn it on, let it heat up. Plug it in, turn it on. Let it heat up. And then while I put this away. Yeah, it's cold. Start with this one. Now this part where you melt it gets really hard. Like I think it just cut me. Now this is the tricky part. I want to stay on the guideline up here, but I also want it to be as close to the bottom as possible. So I've got to kind of aim it and angle it just right. See, I already had the angle off just by going like that. And then it's going to vary as I go down, so I just got to kind of stick to my top guns and less so on the bottom guns. Now I'm going to try not to use any kind of PVA across large areas of these tiles. There we go, kind of irregular. There's little flat areas right here, but I can tweak that. I could probably cut that little piece off right there because I want it to blend with the other tile as well. Okay, so that's the first step of getting those slopes done. Yeah, I just don't know. What is it that I'm trying to say? I'm just so attached to those other tiles that I made that I'm having a hard time bringing myself to just breaking them up and throwing them away. Okay. Okay, I don't mind cutting this. This is tile 6. Right. So it will match up with this other tile. No, not there. It'll match up with that tile right there. Yeah, that's all right. We'll figure it out. And it really only matters where it starts, because after that it's just, it doesn't attach to anything, so it doesn't really matter. See, so once I get it started, now I can just make any kind of adjustments that I want. And this goes off the table, so that doesn't matter. Now, by making the slope steeper or shallower, that does actually take a little bit away from the top of the slope, right? Top of the hill. Yeah, I guess leave it on there. But only by about an inch. Yeah, that works. I probably should get a garbage bag and start stuffing these extra pieces in. Okay, this one looks really good. So now I just have to make sure that the edges match up when I start cutting. Like when I start, because this piece goes right here, I just have to make sure the edges will match up. I don't have to do that right now. I can make them match up afterwards. I can go back in and just kind of trim, you know, here and there. Alright guys, well it's getting late. It's getting probably 1:30 or 2 o'clock. I don't even know what time it is. Yeah, 1:20. So what we're going to do is I'm going to continue on with this for the rest of the day. I'm going to be cutting this. But look forward to my World War II project updates. I might be doing some gluing and some painting and stuff like that. I'm not going to get my grass in for another week. They said they're going to ship it on the 10th. It's when they anticipate shipping it. I have 5. I thought I had 4, but I actually have 5 different colors of grasses coming in to make the different fields. But before I even put any grass down, I got to make sure where all the roads are, and I want to draw in where I want my fields. So that's going to be another, that's going to be another couple of days of working on that as well. So I won't actually be putting any grass down anyway. So I don't really need to get it in. But luckily I'll be getting it in sometime next week. And by then I might actually have some paratroopers painted as well, because I'll be getting those in Thursday. Alright guys, well I'm going to let you guys go while I finish this. And you guys have a great rest of your day.